What's the funniest way you've seen someone expose a boss who never actually works? When I finished culinary school, I got hired as a line cook at a big hotel chain. It wasn't my dream job, but it was a solid start. The kitchen had 8 other line cooks, a few interns, and one head chef who loved talking about how much work he did. He always said he shielded us from the paper monster, but in reality, he barely stepped onto the kitchen floor. His whole world was an office with a computer he barely understood. He handled ordering, schedules, HR emails, HACCP lists, menus, and anything else that looked like paperwork. The only real problem was the food he put on the menu. Everything felt like it came from a cookbook printed decades ago. Heavy dishes, outdated flavor ideas, nothing exciting. Eventually, the whole kitchen team got tired of cooking the same things every day, so we asked if we could design our own menus. To everyone's surprise, he agreed. Honestly, I think he was relieved to have one less thing to deal with. Then corporate made the brilliant decision to get rid of the after-hours menu. This menu had simple, quick items: burgers, BLTs, fries, salad, soup, pizza, stuff guests could order at midnight without thinking. Instead, corporate replaced it with the full daytime menu, the same complicated dishes served during peak hours. The result was exactly what anyone could predict. Almost no one ordered food at night. Guests either arrived too tired or too drunk to sit around waiting for salmon and white wine sauce. Night shift revenue collapsed across multiple hotels. Corporate studied the numbers and made an impressive decision. Instead of restoring the simple menu, they laid off every night shift line cook or moved them to other locations. The menu stayed the same. The workload stayed the same. Only the staffing changed. Because the head chef and I didn't get along, this decision hit me the hardest. Almost every night shift landed on my schedule. I would clock in at 4 p.m. and leave around 5 a.m. On paper, I was working 40 hours, but I consistently hit around 50. I didn't mind at first because overtime pay helped a lot, and as a 21-year-old, the extra money felt great. But the job itself was unbelievably dull. There was simply nothing to do. Guests rarely ordered anything at night. In the beginning, I filled my time cleaning equipment, checking walk-ins for spoiled goods, setting up part of breakfast, and doing whatever paperwork I could find. But after a few weeks, I ran out of tasks. What once took me an hour now took 10 minutes. I cleaned everything that could be cleaned. I reorganized freezers, I labeled items, then I labeled them again. Eventually, I started filling the quiet hours with anything that kept me awake. I read books, I watched Netflix, I chatted with a night manager, I experimented with new recipes, I helped the interns practice knife skills. The kitchen ran smoothly, orders were handled instantly, and everything stayed spotless. But someone didn't like that I wasn't moving non-stop for 13 hours straight. One morning, I was called into the GM's office. He gave me a verbal warning for slacking. I asked him what exactly I was supposed to be doing when there were no orders, no prep needs, no cleaning tasks left, and no staff to manage. That question turned into a long discussion involving the GM, corporate, and my union. They eventually realized they didn't actually know what the night shift expectations should be, but that's a whole separate story. After that meeting, the head chef suddenly decided I needed more responsibility. He handed me piles of kitchen paperwork, timesheets, ordering, schedules, emails, and told me to get to work. The way he said it made it clear he thought I would drown in it or beg him for help. He kept reminding me that it took him a full week to finish everything. His tone made it obvious he believed he was giving me an impossible challenge. But the moment I opened the programs he used, I understood why it took him so long. He didn't know how to use a computer properly. Within a month, I had automated almost everything. I linked our scheduling system directly to payroll, so I only had to check break times and click sync. The ordering software allowed me to walk through the walk-ins with an iPad and update quantities instantly. I combined this with our spoil check routine, so it all happened at once. Then I discovered that our weekly roster could be duplicated and synced to the HR app, which automatically flagged any staff on leave or vacation. What took the chef a full week took me 2 night shifts. Suddenly, he had nothing left to do during the day. For the first time in years, he had to work inside the kitchen again. Corporate eventually heard about the new workflow and asked him to document it. By the time I left the company, they were seriously considering removing the head chef role entirely and letting the F&B manager oversee the kitchen. And it all started because I was told I shouldn't slack.